Teaching is a craft. It's both an art and a science, which is why great teachers always experiment and make tons of mistakes. But how do you know what's actually working? Well, one option is action research. Here you can identify a question, test out a strategy, gather data, and determine if it works. The end result is something dynamic, innovative, and tied directly to your classroom. Action research dissolves the barrier between the participants and the researchers. In other words, the teacher actively participates in the situation while also conducting the research. There are many action research frameworks, but they generally follow a similar process.
Our group will start by creating a list of problems that exist in the classroom. After that, we'll think about the problems that we have included. We will pick one from the list that needs to be resolved, and that problem will be the center topic in our classroom-based action research. Our group will consult with our instructor about the specific guidelines for what to include in the initial stages. We will create approval sheet, acknowledgement, and the table of contents. Afterwards, we will write an abstract after we have completed the full paper so that we'll know what we will be summarizing.
Our group will conduct preliminary research before writing the background of the study. We will look for resources by visiting the library, searching the internet, and using other electronic databases to find scholarly journals that will assess us in developing the background of the study. For the significance of the study, we will explain what our action research will contribute and who will benefit from it. We will begin by referring to the problem statement. This will assess our group and determining the specific contribution of our action research. Our group will write the problem statement after we identify the research problem. We will create a list of possible causes for the specific problem that we've chosen and select the most likely cause from among them. After that, we will start thinking about what concrete action we can take by developing a hypothesis that specifies which immediate action could be taken to resolve the problem.
The solution that our group will propose may not be the best of all possible options. That is why it is critical to come up with a variety of alternative solutions. We can accomplish this by approaching the problem from multiple viewpoints in order to discover a new perspective that we had not previously thought. We can also ask our colleagues to engage a brainstorming session to come up with an idea that is relatively easy to implement. Our group plan to write objectives with strong and positive statements will make sure it is smart, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bounded. We will also make a timetable to help determine how long it will take to complete our action research. The participants of our action research are those who are directly affected by the problem stated.
Our group will examine the data collected during the collection process to see if there's a need to revise in collection strategy. If our data is quantifiable, we will analyze it in the form of charts, tables, and graphs. Data that cannot be quantified can be reviewed holistically. We will present an overview of our action research findings to various stakeholders in order to share our findings. And because each audience is different, we will modify the content and delivery of information each time you share. Only the findings of the study will be included in the findings, We will not include any information that is not directly related to the findings or outcomes of our research. We intend to present them logically and concisely. We will state our conclusion in clear, simple language to make sure that it's not a repetitive summary of findings. The main points of our action research will be restated in the conclusion, and we will provide a basic synthesis for the readers. Our recommendation will logically support the conclusion, and it will be achievable. We will also explain how our solutions can solve the problems stated in our action research.
Bibliography. We will include a list of all the sources of information that been used for our action research. We will write the author's name in alphabetical order, as well as the title of all resources does not have authors. We will use the format preferred by our instructor. The content of the appendices will be summarized and labeled with the number or letter, along with the table. The curriculum vitae will be organized in easy to read. We will include all the necessary information about our group as the researcher on the classroom-based action research.
Based on our experience, we find the situation, problem identification, generation of alternative solution, and presentation and interpretation of data very high difficult to execute. It is because these portions of action research plan is really critical and needs to be scrutinized carefully, as it will affect the whole essence of our research or action research plan.
Furthermore, we also find the introduction, plan of action, findings, recommendation, and conclusion as very difficult to execute. It is because these portions need to be planned accurately and relatively, so that the result of our action plan will be better. On the other hand, we find the preliminaries moderately difficult and reflections fairly difficult to execute. It is because the certain portions of action plan can be done without collecting excessive data and information.
Action research and online distance learning. The impact of making TikTok learning videos on motivating learners to study. Part 1 Introduction. Education is the only treasure that no one can get from us. Since our government implemented the virtual learning, some students lost their motivation to study. According to Ezra Messi and Segdem Civilin, they found out that participants' extrinsic and intrinsic motivation was lower in online education when compared to face-to-face education. And being motivated is very important to students because it helps the students to feel good, energized, and drives to get things done. And since the pandemic happened, there's an app that is very trendy nowadays. It is widely used to avoid the boredom of the people, and it's called TikTok. TikTok is a social media platform for creating, sharing, and discovering short videos. And this app is used by young people as an outlet to express themselves through singing, dancing, comedy, and lip singing, and allows users to create videos and share them across a community.
Since the virtual learning is the new environment for many students, the first challenge is to adapt the online learning. And there are some students who are losing their motivation from unclear course outcomes and lack of control and feeling frustrated because of social isolation. The way people communicate and socialize has changed dramatically as a result of social media. Education is changing as well.
Social media is changing educational environments, and online or blended learning is becoming more popular. These changes have a huge impact, especially to all students out there, leading them to look for an outlet where they can express their feelings.
For the part 3 generalization of alternative solution, first, make your virtual learning interesting. Students online barely listens to a whole discussion of pure words and context. We should always make sure that in every lesson, there is something that our students will work forward to enjoy that will increase their interest. And second, keep students' feedback recognized. Students should know that they are a part of teaching-learning process. So let them voice out their thoughts regarding their needs in class. Third, let students explore the virtual world. Online courses have a strong advantage of the availability and abundance of relevant educational materials on the web. Students should know that there is more than learn and discover online. For the fourth alternative solution, which is encourage collaboration, superior virtual learning can leave learners feeling isolated and disconnected. That's why we need to make some course assignments, partner or team exercises with either fellow learner while learning. And last is be flexible. The need for greater flexibility and resilience is apparent to all of us. As a teacher, you can predict future situations, especially in your virtual classroom, but you can be prepared enough to handle it flexibly.
The part 4, which is the plan of action. The general objective of the study is to investigate the impact of making TikTok learning videos to motivate the learners in participating in online class actively. Some specific objectives are to study the impact of making TikTok learning videos during the online distance learning, to create an alternative strategy in teaching the learners better in online class, to scrutinize if making TikTok learning videos will be helpful or not during the teaching learning process. For the time frame, this is a 4 months research study to gather information or data that we needed. On the table, you will see the actions or activities and their time allotment we will do to conduct this study.
This research will focus on 2 classes, which are grade 5 and grade 6 students at Parayao Elementary School. That only consists of 30 participants. The grade 5 students will control group and which they will be taught without using TikTok learning videos, while the experimental group will be the grade 6 students and which they will be taught with using TikTok learning videos during online class.
If we had to rate our action plan, it would be a 4 out of 5. Without a doubt, all of us gave our best to come up and contribute with relevant ideas that will work for the betterment of this task. We provided an organized description of the steps that we will take to create an excellent classroom-based action research. Although we planned this separately and just online, we are very so proud of the results on how did we able to develop this action plan. But of course, there's always room for improvement. And we know that we're still far from perfection, that there's still some flaws that needs to be included or maybe excluded. Nevertheless, we are more willing to be educated and to learn more because we may not be considered as the best group, but on top of everything, our faith, unity, respect, and perseverance serve as our instrument to do our best to make this action plan organized and well done.
adjective as a group would be collaborative. This adjective describes and suits our experience in accomplishing our classroom-based action research. Collaborative because we divided the parts of doing the action plan fairly and we did our best to communicate together to impart and share helpful ideas in planning and writing this action plan effectively in an organized manner. It shows in our desired action research plan on how we help each other even if in this online setup, and we make sure that no one was left behind through our group discussion about this activity. We worked together to accomplish this task on time, and we did it by respecting and having faith on each other, not only as a group, but also the companionship we have.
And that's it for the discussion of our action research plan. But in the connection to this activity, let us share to you this quotation by Cornelius Fisher saying, "Planning without action is futile. Action without planning is fatal." Thank you for listening. God bless.